Right, welcome back to the channel. Following on from the last episode where we did all the gaps, the shims have now turned up, they're on the bench. I'll show you those in a second. I've actually, as I put them on the bench, I've actually marked the actual cylinders that they're actually going into, or the buckets they're actually going into. So the job for today is going to be strip this back out again, insert the new shims, re-put all this back together again, and then I want to recheck all the actual clearances just to make sure that they're actually coming out of my calculations of what I've expected them to. As I say, with any luck, these should actually come out all within 0.10, 0.11, around all that area. So every cylinder should be around 0.09 to about 0.11. That's what I'm hoping for, fingers crossed, touch wood. So that's what we're going to crack on with today and get that done. And hopefully by the next episode this engine will be ready to actually go back in the frame, which is what I've been waiting for, and I'm sure a lot of you have as well. Right, so I'll show you what I've got on the bench because I've also got some parts in the other corner. Right, so there's the shims I've actually ordered. So where we were showing on cylinder 1, we were showing 0.2. I've actually gone with a 2.6, so that should reduce it down, in theory, if my calculations are right, to 0.10, which is nicely within that tolerance. So I've got a 2.6, 2.5 for number 2, a 2.6 for number 4, a 2.55 for number 5, and a 2.65 for number 8, because that was showing quite big gaps. But also remembering number 5 I had a 2.4 shim, number 8 I had a 2.5 shim. So that's what we'll crack on to in a minute. Also the other parts, I say this is going back a while, if you remember, to actually get the tacho drive, it was mashed completely. Obviously the main spindle with the gear is fine. The bracket just needs to clean up. So I've managed to get a new one. That's the O-ring for it. So the O-ring will fit here. Spindle through. You've then got a seal up inside and a gasket. So that's another job also I want to crack through today. And also I've dug out the front wheel bearings for a later episode as well. They've got to be done. And then I say I'm still doing a bit more research on the wheel truing and balancing. I've had some really good advice, some really good comments on people to have a look at that have done videos on truing and balancing, so thank you very much for everybody that's commented and left me feedback on that. It's much appreciated. I am studying the videos. It does take me sometimes a little while longer to get the grasp of it. I will do probably a couple of practice runs just so I know that I've got it right, but hopefully that will be coming up. So I want to get the engine in first, so get the engine in, but as I say, there's still a long way to go to get the engine in, but would be nice. But obviously I need to strip the whole bike back to just its frame. So as I say, this episode we're going to concentrate on installing these shims, the tacho drive, and then bolt all this back together, check all the clearances once more for the last time, hopefully, touch wood. And then we can press on and I'll strip the I'll strip everything off the bike and get the engine in. But as I say, that'll probably be next episode if this goes okay. Right, so I've got the tools I need. I'm going to strip this out. I'm not going to video it because you've seen me take this out before. So what I'll do is I'll get all this removed. I've actually put the timing lines to top dead centre, so I know 1 and 4 are at top dead. So join me again when all this is stripped out. Right, so that's all stripped out. So on this side I need to replace 1, 2 and 4. So let's start with the first one. So just double checking, 2.6. Right, number 2. Number 2 is 2.5. And last one on this side, number 4. So another 2.6. Right, so now I need to move this across, do exactly the same. On the rears, so number 5, which is this one. Let's go it. So number 5 is a 2.55 going in. Right, the last one. So that's the 2.65. Right, so that's all the shims replaced that I need to replace. That's 5 of them I've replaced. So next job is to put all this back in place, clamp it all down. So I'll do that now and then join me again when it's all back in place. Actually, thinking about it, before I do that, let's just slot that one back in. Lift this one out. Actually going to fit the actual tacho drive. Right, let's get all these pieces. So there's this rubber O-ring goes around this top surface. oil seal pops in there. So I'm just going to get some oil, just rub it round and then slide that through. Right, so I've just coated that with oil. And pop that through. And that pops through nicely. Right, so the last seal actually fits on the outside, so I'm going to leave that off for now because I don't want to lose it. I just put a coating of oil around the oars and that O-ring. And that slides in nice. And then there's just a clamp to apply. So now it's in place, I'm now going to move the cams back into position and then clamp it all down. Right, so all the clamps are in position. I just want to do one final tightening. Again, as I did in the showed you before, that's the tightening sequence. 1, 1, 2, 2. So it's 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8. So I'm going to carry on with this and then get the cam chain tensioning unit back in place, and then we'll check the gaps. Right, so we're all set up again. I've moved the timing round to the exhaust mark so we can check 1 and 3. Right, it's 0.1. Right, so number 1 is now 0.9. Number 3 we haven't changed, so that should still be 0.9. Yep. Right, so now I need to rotate it so the exhaust line is facing the rear, and I can check 2 and 4. Right, that was 0.1. Let's try 0.11. Yep, 0.11. That is 0.9. Right, so for the exhaust now we have 0.09, 0.11, 0.09 and 0.09. So now I need to do exactly the same on the inlets. Right, so I've rotated the crank again so the T mark is facing forward. So I can now check 6 and 8. That's 0.1. That's 0.11. And 6 is still at 0.09. So now I need to move it to the back, and then we can check 5 and 7. It's 0.11. And 0.1. Let's try 0.9. Yep. Right, so there's my new totals. So the cylinder 1's come down to 0.09, 0.11, 0.09, 0.99, 0.11, 0.09, 0.09 and 0.11. And as we can see the spec, so it's at the lower end, but they're all roughly within the same tolerance of each other. So happy with that. Right, thanks for joining me on that one. As I say, just a short one really, just to get all this reinstalled, rechecked, get the new shims in, and then recheck all the clearances just to make sure that everything's in tolerance and that I haven't messed up anywhere. As far as I'm aware, I've got it right. I must say, these books are a must. They are helping me. I have made mistakes because I haven't read them properly in some instances. As I say, the climber manual is, as I say, is a really good, thick, informative manual. Haynes, slightly thinner. But as I say, I do like the fact that the Haynes has actually got the actual shim chart, which is really, really handy. So as I say, it's my first time of ever doing shims under buckets, and obviously sorting out the clearances, etc. But as I say, all my calculations have come out. As I say, I mean the manuals are specifying that the valve clearance spec should be 0.08 to 0.18, so I'm within that. I'm slightly just above the lowest, the min clearance. But as I say, glad to get that done. And also obviously get the tacho drive actually installed as well, so that's another job ticked off the list. Next episode I'm going to start stripping the actual everything that's on the bike at the moment. It's all loose fit, so it shouldn't take long to get that off. I'm going to strip all that down so it's a bare frame, take it off the ABBA stand. I'm going to have to go back to the lower stand it was on beforehand. We'll get this engine down on the ground. I'll put a duvet or a rug down or something just to protect it, and then we'll slide the frame over. So let's say lots more to come, lots more jobs to do, but each episode things are getting done, they're being ticked off the list. I'm happy with how things are going, how I'm learning as I'm going. So as I say, any questions in the comments box below. There's also a link to my Facebook page, and I'm also on Instagram as well now. Again, links in the description below. Pop across, say hi. The Facebook page, obviously I've run that longer, there's a lot more people on it, but you're more than welcome to pop across and say hello. It's nice to talk to people. I've talked to people from all over the world, which is fantastic. And still I'm getting questions, even back into the Busa build, I'm still getting questions, which is good. So I help people where I can with the knowledge I have. If I don't know, I'll try and find out for you and help you out. But so that just about wraps this episode up. If you get that finished, it would have been, well, there was a gap obviously between ordering the shims and the shims arriving, so it was easier to do it that way. But engine is now, well, basically finished on the bench. It can now go back in the bike, and the rest of it can be all done in the bike. So join me again in the next episode when we finally get this this engine back in its frame. Again, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.